there actually a faucet of water from Canada ready to be turned on? Literally, no, but figuratively, kind of?
So you have millions of gallons of water, and you turn the faucet, all of that water would come right down here and right into Los Angeles.
The Columbia River begins its journey in the Canadian Rockies. Huge amounts of snowmelt from high elevations flow into hundreds of lakes, streams, and major tributaries, before crossing the border into the United States near Northport, Washington. It's worth pointing out that only about 15% of the Columbia River's total flow originates in Canada. And tributaries like the Snake River in Idaho are much bigger contributors to the total flow that goes out to the Pacific Ocean. But the reason why the comments from the president-elect are actually very meaningful is because there is a treaty that governs the relationship of water between the two countries. And that treaty is being renegotiated as we speak right now. Now, the majority of the Columbia River Treaty mostly has to do with flood control and power generation, establishing how much water Canadian reservoirs have to store so that U.S. reservoirs are free to generate power all year. But there's one detail of this whole situation that most people overlook, but the president-elect seems to be fixated on. And that is that the Columbia River has water to spare. Unlike other well-publicized drought-stricken rivers like the Colorado near Las Vegas, there is not a shortage of water in the Columbia River in the Pacific Northwest. When you add up the year-round stream flow, including in years of drought, there's actually a major surplus of water not currently being put to use. Which means that on paper, there is enough water in the Columbia to divert out of state to places like California. So what would it take to turn on this faucet and solve California's water problems? Nothing. There is no faucet. Just because water exists on paper doesn't mean you can get it to where it's needed. And the 400-some miles of mountains and high desert between the Columbia River and California is far too impractical to cross.